everybody to do is get a pen and paper out. And I think we're all just very privileged tonight to just have this gentleman join us. I've known Agar for, gosh, 25 years. He's just an individual I have just can proudly call a friend. He's somebody that I have been just excited to associate with for 25 years. He's an individual who, when we came in back 25 years ago, Prepaid Legal at the time, today Legal Shield, had acquired the People's Network. And I remember Agar in those early days because he was an individual who really kind of helped set the stage for a lot of us when it came to understanding really the power and the benefits around the membership. He is a full service associate. He's a 30-year veteran. He's worked very close with individuals like, Harlan, Wilburn Smith, Dave Savola. I mean, he's been part of the old guard, and he's an awfully young man, but he's been part of the old guard for 30 years, and and has seen this company transition, through a host of very tremendous successes. And what I do, would encourage is get your pen and paper out, and you're going to want to go and follow up this conversation. We are recording, right, Jane?
Yes, we are.
All right, good. Is follow up this conversation by going over to the Shield Nation website. And if you're not familiar with the consumer folder, you're missing one of the greatest tools that's ever been available in Legal Shield, in the 50-year history of Legal Shield. One of the things I was very fortunate to understand 25 years ago when I came on board was the power of the membership. And I spent a lot of time in my early days with Larry Smith, and Larry had put together a membership. It wasn't really a script. It was a presentation, 8-page presentation on the script. And I was able to condense it down with Darcy and just some of our team to really 2 pages. And that's what is in the consumer folder. It is a tool that allows you to use one tool for basically every presentation. And there's really no better person right now to talk about it than Agar. We have a lot of folks who use this tool, have been very successful with this tool, and that includes me. I do every presentation with the consumer folder. But when you get done, go to Shield Nation, go to the training and resources tab, and get familiar with it if you're not. More importantly, as leaders, make sure your team's familiar with it, because you're going to increase your odds for protecting memberships or for writing memberships and protecting families. So this individual's written 10,000 plus memberships, and I really don't like to say that because he's protected and brought security to more than 10,000 families. So Agar, my friend, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. If you don't mind, take the next 10, 15 minutes and just kind of share the value and just how you've worked with the membership and kind of what it's meant to you and your business.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
You bet. Sure can, Agar.
First of all, I want to thank you and Darcy for allowing people that are not a part of Shield Nation to actually purchase these consumer folders. And what I mean by that is this, and I tell people all the time, I ain't mad with you if you do this, because a lot of times, a lot of teams will say, this is only for us. This is something we designed that's only for us, and we want to keep it in-house. And like I say, I ain't mad with nobody that says that, because I understand that, because whatever works great for you, that works great for you. But I think it shows the type of leaders you guys are to all of us that are non-Shield Nation people. I guess you can call us Shield Nation cousins or Shield Nation relatives or something. The fact that you allow us to go into the store and purchase these. I initially started out purchasing, I guess 500 of them, whatever it was, for $275 or whatever. And probably the last 2 or 3 years, I purchased 1,000 at a time, because it's the first. Here's what I mean by that, everybody. In the past, before I got this, I do a lot of B2B stuff. And I was always designing a flyer and customizing a flyer that was for this particular group. Whether it was the $15.95, since I do a lot of group, or 1895 or 2095, what we have now. It doesn't matter. But I was always having to design that, and take something and change the name or change the price on it, whatever the case may be. And when I looked at this, I was like, shucks, I don't need to do this. I can just use this and whatever doesn't apply, because people are, when you're presenting to somebody, you guys know this, when you're presenting to somebody, they pretty much go by what you say. Some people are nosy and they'll look down and look at every little thing and say, well, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. But in the B2B arena, where we only have 10, 15 minutes to talk with someone, nobody's doing that. They're basically following you and your voice as to what you're doing. So instead of me worrying about the fact about whether we had the updated version that had about the uncontested voice, uncontested name change, whatever. Because one time I thought about, well, I used the old one for my old groups and I used the new one. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I can just purchase this and do what I need to do. And this is what I do. The only thing I do now is that whatever group that I'm doing, I have a highlighted application, and I actually put on the application something for them to check off as to whether it was the 1595, 1895, whatever. I have that down there, and I have that for them to just put a check mark and say what they decide they wanted to do. But I love this consumer folder. I love it. And I'm just going to say it like this. The fact that y'all might not be using this, hey, it's good for me as long as y'all let us keep buying it. It's good for me. It's more for me to get. That's the way I look at it in situations like this. I just like the fact that, see, in my presentation, for example, I did a presentation today earlier. And I always started off by just simply saying, every insurance you and I have, something bad has to happen for us to use it. Life insurance, you got to die. Health insurance, you got to get sick. Homeowners insurance, that's got to be a fire or vandalism. And car insurance, that's got to be an accident. So therefore, when you mention legal services, people will make statements like this: oh, I don't get in any trouble. And then I go straight to the have you ever, and starting off with the thing about the will. And I talk about that. I may pick a couple of other things there as well, because I'm limited to about 15 minutes in situations like that. So I pick out several different things that I want to highlight. And the reason that I talk about the 4 different types of insurance and something bad has to happen, because I'm thinking in terms of people talking about, well, I don't get in any trouble, so I don't need a lawyer. Because that's the mentality that most people have, that they have to get in trouble to use a lawyer, because car insurance, there's got to be an accident for me to use that. Health insurance, I got to get sick to use that. Homeowners insurance, there's got to be a fire or vandalism. So that's the reason that I do it like that. And by talking this several different things about have you ever, it works out great for me. So I'm talking about the situation with the will or signing a contract. Now, when I open the flyer up, I've got the legal protection on one side, the ID shield, ID protection on the other side. And when I get a chance to ask questions like, how many people are married, how many people have children, teenagers, the whole 9 yards, bottom line is that when I go through this presentation with them, and I just go through bullet points with them, because I think about how your life is so much better by having this. And I think too, the fact that the consumer folder has the pictures on there so that people can relate to that, because you got the guy that's there with the phone up to his ear. You got the police officer leaning over when you're talking about the speeding tickets. Then with the trial defense, you got the courtroom there, and the dollar sign, the IRS audit, and the 24 emergency access. And the only other little props that I use is that I purchased, at one time they had stopped, so I purchased a bunch. I think I purchased about 3,000 of the 24-hour emergency access cards, and they now brought them back. But I purchased a bunch of those so that I utilize that to show them. And I talk about the fact about the 24-hour emergency access, the kind of things that can occur. And I talk about, I have a flyer that I put in there. The only other extra stuff I put in there is I have one flyer about vehicle homicide. When I say a flyer, it's actually about a bus driver. that had a situation with an accident with a vehicle homicide. Now, in this particular bus driver, my friend Warren Lankford, who's a part of Shield Nation, actually was talking to this particular bus driver when this occurred. And what happened is, motorcycle rider has the right of way, thought the bus driver was going to stop, realized he's not going to stop, falls off the motorcycle flies up on the bus and explodes. Bus never hits him, but he dies because he bled to death. And I point out in that article that she was charged with 1 count of misdemeanor death by a motor vehicle. Now, my only point about that is the fact about telling them that, listen, I'm educating you on the fact that your car insurance, my car insurance, nobody's car insurance is going to cover that. But I asked the question, hypothetically, because I know it's already what the answer is already. I asked, how many people in here have car insurance? And I said, oh, by the way, if you don't, I like to put humor in mind. If you don't, let me know where you're driving so I make sure I get off the road, okay? But here's my point. What I say is, if you got a call yesterday from your car insurance company and they told you that there was a hole in your car insurance, but there's nothing they could do about it, and it was about the vehicle homicide, but they partnered with a company, and for an extra $25 a month, they could now have that covered to save themselves $5, $10, $15,000 as far as the vehicle homicide is concerned. I said, now, how many people in here, when that would be what it would cost you without it, would just tell them, add the $25? And so what I say is, after that, I said, there's nobody in here who wouldn't do that, right? Nobody raises their hand. So then I say, well, here's the great thing about this is, for that same $25, not only are we going to take care of that, but we're going to take care of the other stuff that's on the legal side as well. So it kind of puts everything in perspective when it comes to that. So, and then I love, once again, I used to have to always have an extra flyer for the gun owners, or an extra flyer for the business, home business riders, or the trial defense. It's right here in the consumer folder. And then when you updated it and had about social media, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, man, I just hit the lotto. I hit the lotto with this, because this is just great for as I'm concerned. Because now what I talk about with that, with the social media, is the fact about I go back to when, during the pandemic, and I said, some of you all may or may not remember that in 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, there were several CEOs or executives who either resigned or were terminated, not because of something they did in 2020, but because they either made a post or liked a post or liked something or posted something that was controversial. And the consumers said to the corporate office, if these are the type of people you guys have working for you all, we're not going to do any business with you. So I say what we do is that we sweep LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I said, now, if they find anything controversial, they're not going to delete it, but they'll bring it to your attention. They say, look, we found this, and we think you should delete it, because if you do not, your employer might see this and you may get terminated over that. And so I talk about what we do as far as sweeping that. And I always put a little humor by saying, hey, I can't remember what I ate 10 days ago. Let's remember what I may have posted 20 years ago, plus things that might have been funny to me 20 years ago. They're not funny to me anymore. You know, I'm a different type person now. So once again, all of that is right there. Once again, normally I printed off a flyer talking about the member perks. I don't have to do that. I just have to flip the page and it's back there in the back. And I can turn right around and give some member testimonials. I'm saying to you all, well, let me put it to you like this. As my uncle used to say, let me say this about that, if I may. Keep on not buying them. Keep buying them. You know, so I'm going to keep buying them. Unless y'all tell me I can't buy them no more, I'm going to keep on buying them, okay? So that I just think this is one of the best things that's ever happened. And when I first started using it, I would listen to the training that Darcy did on it and the training that Brielle did on it as well. And here's what I tell people whenever you listen to any kind of training. You know, I can't say it. I used to say the same thing at Dave Savula or whoever. I can't tell the same jokes Dave says. I can't ask the questions in the same way that Brielle may do it or Darcy may do it. So I tell people I have to Agarize it. I have to put it to my personality. But it gave me a guideline of what I needed to do. So that therefore, when I utilize this now, it is perfect. It is perfect for me. I didn't say it's perfect for you. It's perfect for me. Only thing I ask you to do is just keep just not buying it so I can keep buying it. Okay? That's the way I look at it. So John, I'll turn it back over to you if you have any questions about anything, because this is just one of the best things that I've ever had to do, because it saved me a lot of printing. Because once again, every time I went to different groups that might have different prices and everything, what I did is I customized it. So I had to do a lot of that. So I don't have to do that anymore because I can use this one tool right here. This one tool is perfect for everything I need. It has everything there. I don't have to add anything to it. I just have a highlighted application in there, and I just take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Agar, good stuff. Hey, stay with me a second here for everybody too. Just a whole host of really good points there. You know, Agar, you and I have seen over the years people designing their own stuff, coming to presentations or one-on-ones. I don't care if it's a group. I don't care if it's a one-on-one at Panera Bread. You know, I don't care where you might be doing it. You know, I've seen, you know, fourth generation copies on terrible paper, you know, and there's an old saying, duplication is the power to wealth. And the simpler you keep something, the more it's going to duplicate. Agar, talk to everybody just real quickly too about this, the power of kind of this being a leave behind. In other words, you know, let's just say you're doing a presentation for, you know, for 20 employees. You know, they're going to hear your words. You know, some of them are going to want to think about it. They're going to want to go home and talk to their husband or their wife or, you know, whatever the significant other might be. They might need a week to digest what, you know, the information you gave. But they're taking this material, this consumer folder, they're taking it home with them. Once you're done with the presentation, and I'm looking for you know, and I'm going to make the commitment, but I want my significant other in, I can almost duplicate your presentation because I've got the consumer folder that you've left with me to now do the presentation, not like you did, but now I can explain it to my wife because I've got it in my hands and it's so easy to use. You know,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you, I've gotta be very transparent because initially, before I knew I could buy them, I had one. So I just take them
Here we
to,
go. Here we
we
go.
got this.
No.
No, listen, no. We get discounts at Office Depot, right? So I was getting the color copies, letting them fold them and all like that. And I was like, man, even though it was costing me a little bit of change, I'm like, well, I got them. But then when I found out I could just purchase from you all, I was like, man, this is perfect. This is great. Now, not only do they have it, John, whether they take it home with them, but many times everybody is not at the meeting. Everybody didn't come.
That's
So
right.
you take the day. We're supposed to have 120 employees at this staff meeting. There wasn't no 120 people at the staff meeting. But here's what happens. I always say to the principal, I'm going to send you tomorrow an email for you to forward out to everybody. And in the email, I put in there about, you know, thanks for welcoming me like you did, blah, 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 all like that. Here's just a few highlighted forms, highlights of what it's all about. But I'll attach this as well in my email so that everybody gets to see, you know, because sometimes people take things, they may leave them in their drawer or whatever the case may be. No. They get a chance to get everybody that's at that school or that business gets an email that has this attached to it so that they can easily just turn around and print it off. Or if they don't want to print it off, they can just, when they get home, open up their email and let their spouse or significant other look at it and go through it blow by blow by blow. Now, what I also do is, and I always tell them, listen, if you listen to an overview of the presentation, Don't pay any attention to the price they give you because you're getting a discounted price because you're part of a group. Okay. So that therefore, a lot of times I'll attach, and of course, if y'all got it, I'll take it. But if y'all got something in place where somebody actually does the presentation using this, oh, I'll attach that recording to it in a minute because of the fact that this is so beneficial in situations like that. So what I've been doing for the fact that I didn't know about anything else is that I would take Melissa's 11-minute overview and I would say, click on this for your spouse or significant other to look it over. But worst case scenario, you have everything I spoke with you about right here. And whether they left the folder in their desk, on the job, in their car, it does not matter because if they open up that email, this email has all of this right here.
Yeah.
So that they have this right here, they can go through. And here's the other thing too. I don't highlight that much about the member perks during the presentation because I only have 15 minutes and I'm not getting into that right now. But I do, when I send the email out, talk about on the last page, you'll see about the member perks that we have so that they see it right here. And I say also the testimonials, because some of you all probably have had some of these things to occur with you. And so that now they've got this that was emailed to them and they get a chance now to look about the member perks. And it says right there, $50 or more. And I'm like, guess what? Your membership doesn't even cost you that much.
That's right.
And I say, worst case scenario, even if all you did was get your wheels done, because I'm pounding about that wheel. If all you did was get your wheels, living wheels, healthcare power attorney, all that stuff done, if that's all you did and you never used it again, the fact that you're saving $50 or more per month with the member perks, you'll never want to get rid of this. You'll always keep this because you remember, if you get rid of it, then then it's going to cost you more money for your other stuff, your other member perks that you have that you're taking advantage of. So that's where it's important to me. Not only is a leave behind, but I also attach it, for them to when they get the follow-up email, thanking them for, having me and welcoming me here. And then here's the highlight and everything I went over is right here within the flyer.
Yep. Yeah. So good. So good. And, I've had numerous people from a leave behind perspective call me back and say, hey, the testimonials on the back help my significant other relate to, what I see as a value, what I see as a benefit. I want everybody also to be crystal clear. If you haven't seen the consumer folder, you're truly missing it. Let me just be honest with each one of you. Secondarily, you won't find Legal Shield on it anywhere. There's nothing that has Legal Shield on it. You want to know why? Because we want attribution coming to you, not to the corporate office. Okay. So every time that you're doing this presentation, your name and your information is on the consumer folder. So guess where the follow-up's going to be? It's going to be back to you. They're not going to go Google Legal Shield. They're not going to go and see that they have an opportunity to buy it somewhere else. You want it coming back to you. So, work smarter instead of harder, folks, and go and listen to what Agar talked about. Darcy does a great job explaining it. I think Brielle's information is still there. Jane, before we wrap it up tonight, Agar, I love you, my brother. You're just a tremendous leader. Darcy and I are blessed to know you guys and have time together. I'm going to hand it off to a couple of other associates and probably going to call on you maybe down the road for a little follow-up to this because it just went too quick. And, you've just got too much good information, my friend.
Sounds good. Once again, I appreciate you and Darcy and all of Shield Nation allowing us outside the cousins or the relatives of Shield Nation to be able to utilize this. So like I say, y'all keep on not using it. I'll keep using it. And, we'll keep everything in business. All right. We keep it in house.
We're not going to let you have all that business, Agar. So you'll always be family, man. You'll always be family. Jane, I know you had a question. Fire away.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say I'm sorry, cousin Agar, but while you were talking, I ordered 100. I I don't know why I haven't done that in quite a while. I did notice, and I want to put this out to everyone. You're going to look at it and you're going to see it says $1 million protection. John, and that is actually brilliant. I know you just maybe haven't updated it. Leave it at that, because we can tell the people, look, it says 1 million. It's actually 3 million, and we can update as we go. I love
Really good.
So
Yeah.
it's gotten me, and now that I hear the way you did it with groups, that really makes sense. It keeps it all in one place. It's not 4 pieces of paper flying all over the place. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, and think about it. You can utilize this. I mean, you can utilize this anywhere. Recruiting individuals, one-on-ones, whatever the case may be. I mean, I think it's just perfect. I think it's perfect for anything you utilize. I mean, when I recruited some GAs, you know, and some insurance agents, this is what I sent them. This is what I sent them. I don't send them anything different, because some people say, well, what if I'm talking to this type person or that type person? Same thing. Well, what about this type of person? What if it's somebody that has a plumbing business, whatever? Same thing. What about same thing? It's just one document you can use all the time for everything.
Yep. And you know, Agar, I don't know how many times, and Jane, I don't know how many times I've had someone, we only have so much time to do the presentation. To Agar's point, you're not going over every single benefit to the nth degree. But I've had people say, hey, wait. You know, I'm a Second Amendment supporter. What's the gun owner supplement? You know, boom, I go right into the gun. Well, wait. I'm an entrepreneur and I have a small business. What's the home business rider? Because it's all just right there. You know, it's a one-stop shop. And, you know, so anyhow, Jane, I don't know if we have any announcements. I know we're going to go over here in a couple of minutes, but again, Agar, thanks. Jane, any final thoughts, comments from you? Any announcements on anything?
Well, I see one hand up, and
Okay.
Lee may have announcements. I'm not sure, but I see Bridget Paquette.
Good evening, family. Bridget Paquette Parker, currently in Gaylord, Michigan. And Don and Ellen Wilson uses that all the time. It was designed by Darcy to use, just like Hagar said to us, anywhere, whoever we're meeting with. Back to you. It's a blessing. A blessing.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any questions on it? If you haven't used it before, feel free to ask. You got the man on here to ask for sure right now, 2 of them. Otherwise, Lee, do you have any announcements?
No, I don't, Jane. Thank you so much. I did want to remind everybody, if you have not logged in to LS Engage and checked your profile and made sure that all of your information is in there, and also checked your communication preferences. They've done so many updates. Some of mine disappeared. I knew it was in there and I knew I should be getting things, and I wasn't. And when I checked, some of it had just disappeared. So if you haven't done that in a while, be sure and do that. That's it. That's all I've got, Jane. Back to you.
Awesome.
Jane, let me say this to everybody. Thanks, Lee. Also, the room blocks have started to come out for the Oklahoma City conference. I would encourage everybody, if you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket. I'm excited because we're going back to Oklahoma City. I love it. We're kind of back in our home turf, our hometown. A lot of great history there. And, you know, you want to get your room block and you want to get your tickets. It's going to be a fantastic event, and just looking forward to it. So don't miss that opportunity to get that as soon as you can.
Don, I know some people are going, why is he talking about that? It's not even Christmas, but we're going to blink and it's going to be next week.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Hey,
I want to know where the Shield Nation breakout is.
it's going to be I just talked to Taylor today. It's going to be at the Omni Hotel. So as soon as I get that information, they have us on the listing, and they'll let us know. I'll get it out.
Great. Do you happen to know, do we have a guest for next week yet?
I've got a couple invites out, so stay tuned. And you know, all I would say is, you know, don't pick it just because a guest's coming. You know, be here consistently and have your team here consistently, because there's always some nugget that's going to take your business to the next level, if not 10 nuggets. So big appreciation for Agar and Al Lewis the week before, and all the guests that we've had up to this point. They've been great.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. For those on Success Partners, of course, we have the morning stretch call tomorrow. Otherwise, have a great week and bye-bye for now. Go to Shield Nation and order those consumer folders. Bye-bye.
Great
See y'all
job,
later.
Jane.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, great
Bye,
job.
John.
John,
Bye.
Agar.
Give our love to Darcy.
Thank you. Great job.